So I just wanted to start off this video today. We're right here eating dinner today, Saturday night. Today's February 22nd, 2025. And I've just been busy this whole week just preparing a ton of tax returns. Usually I have 13, 14-hour days, sometimes even longer. But even then, with all the work that I have every single day, I still find time. At least I have found time this week to be able to train for an hour my boxing skills and my jiu-jitsu skills. Actually, I went 2 days this past week for boxing. That was 2 hours that I put out of my day, and it was actually during the work hours that I went ahead and I took all of these times to be able to focus on those training skills. So it's very important that even though you are working, and even if you have a family that you still have to take care of, I really do think that you have to find time to at least continue training. I've come a long way. I've been doing boxing for several months now. Last year I started in the summer, and I've been training jiu-jitsu for a while, since last year as well. And my trainers, Lionel and Elias, and even JB, because I do go and JB and we do train together. And all of them have seen an improvement in my skills. And so right now is a very important time for me, because since I'm so busy, I want to continue to make time to be able to train. Because even if I do take one day off or maybe 2 days off, I have to continue to find time, because this is a perishable skill, just like anything else, right? Same thing what I'm doing right now, taxes, it's a perishable skill. If I decided to retire tomorrow and I came back and tried to do taxes 10 years from now, definitely I would have a hard time getting back into this business. Maybe I'll be able to have some clients that'll want to do business with me, but my skills will definitely not be there. I will have to polish them up again. So that's just what I've been doing so far. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update, touch base with you guys a little bit about what I've seen overall in this past week. I've been talking to more people throughout the week, some of my clients. I do have a very mixed bag of clients. I do have a lot of clients sometimes that they lean towards the left. I have some clients that lean towards the right. And so it's always good to be able to get their opinions on a lot of stuff. Now, I did start off the week. I have a client that lives in Orange County, and he actually is an adjuster. So he is self-employed. He gets contracts to go to these areas such as Altadena, Pacific Palisades, Malibu, all that area. He actually has been contracted to go out there to be able to work on the insurance adjustment side. So what he was telling me was that there is going to be a lot of work ahead, and there's a very good chance that they're going to have a hard time to be able to find all those contractors that are necessary for to be able to have these houses rebuilt. And so that's going to be very difficult going ahead, because there's going to be a lot of price gouging. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to have a hard time to be able to rebuild. Now, I do think that the Pacific Palisades area is probably going to start moving a little bit quicker when it comes to the reconstruction effort. I really do think that the Altadena area is going to have a harder time, because a lot of these insurance companies, um, they're not going to be paying what people think they are. So from what I've heard from some clients of mine as well that are familiar with the insurance industry, well, first of all, the FAIR plan, the California FAIR plan, that was supposed to be a last resort for people to be able to get insurance, that has actually gone broke. So what's going to end up happening now is, for a lot of these homeowners that did have insurance through the FAIR plan, more than likely what's going to end up happening is they may end up getting some sort of compensation through that insurance company or through other insurance company, but that compensation is only going to be enough to be able to cover any loan, any mortgage that's on that property. Then what's going to end up happening is the homeowner is going to have a plot of land that has no construction on it, and they're not going to have the funds to be able to rebuild. And so a lot of these people in Altadena, unfortunately, it's people that have held these homes through generations, from what I've been hearing. And it is true, because I remember with JB, we did interview people when we went out there, and we did actually talk to them, and they did say that these houses, they were inherited by the parents. So there's going to be a lot of red tape that people are going to have to go through to be able to rebuild in Altadena. Not only that, but there's another issue. The fact that the residents of Altadena are going to have to vote as to where they want all of this rubble to be positioned, because there's a lot of rubble, but not all the rubble is built the same. From what I've been hearing, is that they have to find a location within that community where they can actually transport all that rubble. They have to find a location where they can transport all that rubble, and from there they have to separate the rubble into several different types, right? So, and then from there, then that has to be sent to the landfill. So it's not like a tractor or bulldozer just comes in, grabs everything, and just takes it straight to the landfill. All of these houses, they have to find a central location where they take everything there first. So that is going to be hard. That's not going to be overnight. And like I said, on top of that, it's just going to be very difficult for people to rebuild. And that's just another example of how hard it is whenever you have these types of disasters. Not only that, but we can't forget about what happened to the people in Tennessee and North Carolina, because not unless you had boots in the ground and you were actually there, you don't really know what happened. There's a lot of people that disappeared. There's a lot of people that were never found. And what you hear on the mainstream media is not the actual news, not the actual things that actually happened. There's a lot of people that went missing that are not being reported. So it's very important, like I said, for us not to forget about these people, and to go ahead and give our 2 cents whenever we can. So just because months have passed by doesn't mean that those organizations don't need help. There's a lot of places out in the world right now that need our help, and we as the citizens, I think that should be able to find within ourselves to be able to give a little bit back. So shifting off topic here, I was talking to someone else as well. I don't know if this is 100% true, but according to what I've heard, that during the pandemic, there was a lot of people that were actually not dying from COVID, but they actually took advantage, bad actors took advantage of that situation and actually killed people on purpose to be able to remove their organs, to be able to do organ trafficking around the world. So this possibly wasn't going around the United States, but possibly other countries around the world. There was a lot of bad actors that probably took advantage of that and actually went ahead and classified a lot of these deaths as COVID deaths, when in reality, it was people that were being killed within hospitals, and the organs were being removed and were transported to other parts of the world. This is organ trafficking. I'm pretty sure that that actually did go on, but I don't know to what extent. So it could be that the whole thing was probably overblown. Like I said, this could be a conspiracy theory. I've never heard of it. That's the first time I've ever heard of it. If anybody has ever heard of that, please let me know in the comments below. But that's one of the things that I actually did here today, and just kind of surprised me. So another thing I wanted to talk about today, it's a little off subject again, is I know there's a lot of people out there saying that they're finding out now that this Department of Government Efficiency actually found out that there was a lot of people that were getting paid from Social Security that were over 100 years old, maybe on 150. But I actually just had a client that is over 100 years old, and she's still getting Social Security benefits. So at least I know there's one person out there over 100 that's still receiving Social Security benefits and is still receiving pension income and still has to report her taxes yearly, which I don't think she's too happy about it. But at this point, she does need help from her relatives to be able to gather all those documents. Just because at 102 years old, there's not that many people out there at 102. I have met very few people over 100. I think she's probably the third or fourth client I've ever had that's over 100 years old. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So that was one of the things too that I wanted. I thought that was just something interesting. And so again, another thing, I do have a lot of clients that are very enthusiastic about this year. And some people, they don't believe that this Department of Government Efficiency is actually finding all this fraud. Now, I have heard that they are going to be giving out these checks, and I have several clients that do want that money. They want the $5,000 that supposedly the government's going to be giving them. The problem is that this money, in my opinion, I think should be used to be able to lower down the nation's debt for future generations. Right now is a good time for the government to do that instead of giving back money to the American people. Now, going forward, I really do think that this is going to help the public because at the end of the day, if there's less government spending, that means there's going to be less inflation overall, right? So one of the metrics that I've heard online, and you could try this at home with a calculator, right? Let's say that right now they said they had, what is it, like maybe over $1 trillion that they've saved. Several $billion are being found on a weekly basis. Let's just say that they had several $1 trillion saved at the moment. The way you can find out about how much money each tax-paying household will get is you have to go ahead and multiply that number by 20% because according to them, this is a Doge dividend, so it's about 20%, right? So what you do is you grab that number, you multiply by 20%, whatever trillion they have found and saved, and then there you divide it by the amount of tax-paying households, which in this case, they're saying is probably around 80 million tax-paying households in the US. Once you do that, you'll get a better idea as to how much money each tax-paying household will get if they're saving that amount of money. Now, we don't know if this amount will be saved every single month, if they're going to have consistency, because maybe right now they're finding really large amounts, but maybe in the future those numbers could peter down. Because at the end of the day, how many times can they find all this inefficient spending? Eventually, they're going to get it under control, right? There's only so many things that the government spends their money on. Eventually, it's going to run dry and they're going to be 100% efficient. Unless they start cutting stuff that's essential to the US government, then at that time, I really do think that that can actually hurt the economy. So they do have to be very careful. And what they're saying is that a lot of people that are actually finding this fraud that work for Doge are actually young people that are very well skilled when it comes to computers and technology. I think that's great. I think that it's very important for them to find good, knowledgeable people to be able to help the government find fraud. So again, you do have a lot of mixed opinions on Doge, but at the end of the day, I think that it is important for us as U.S. citizens to do our part and to continue to be effective in everything that we do, to continue to do our best to help our fellow neighbors and all the people around us as much as we can, because there's a lot of people that are hurting right now. You may think that your next door neighbor is doing great, but maybe they have a lot of problems. Right now, there's a lot of people that are in a lot of debt. I heard another story today from one of my clients today. She's a massage therapist, and she works in a very high-end country club here in Palm Desert. And she has a lot of clients that are very, very wealthy. Some of them are actually from Hollywood. And she says that for the most part, all the old money, they pay very well with tips. But you got some of the younger people, the young money that's coming in, that they're very held to themselves and they hardly tip. So maybe we're entering a new generation right now of people that are just tired of tipping. And there's a possibility that in the next 15, 20 years, as society shifts, maybe we're going to be in a certain environment where maybe there's going to be less and less people tipping because today's generation is getting fed up of all the different areas that people are supposed to tip. So you give your opinion in the comments below about what you think of today's tipping culture. I personally think it's getting out of control. Yesterday, I went with my family. We celebrated birthday. It's just insane how high food prices are. Everything in the menu nowadays for just any general meal that you go out to a restaurant is $25, $30. I remember back in the day when you were spending $25, $30 on the meal, you were in a fine dining restaurant. Now we're just talking about a typical sit-down restaurant. You're spending $25, $30 a person for dinner. Plus, that's not including tip, right? So if you have 5 people, I mean, you're looking at about $250 or more with tip. It's just incredible how expensive life has gotten nowadays. So today's video, I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. But tomorrow I will have another good video for you guys, so stay tuned. I will continue to upload as much as I can during tax season. So be on the lookout for my videos. Stay subscribed to my channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.